Hey everyone, Sal Sincata here for Shutter Magazine, and I'm going to talk to you about our 2013 editor's pick for editing software, onone Software's Perfect Photo Suite. Okay, so I'm in Perfect Photo Suite and I just want to show you a few features. First and foremost, I want to bring to your attention that we are operating inside the application as a standalone application. And the reason that's important is because no longer are you required to have Photoshop or Lightroom to launch and work with onone's Perfect Photo Suite. So in previous versions, you needed that host application for onone to perform correctly. Well, that's no longer the case, and I love being able to just launch Perfect Photo Suite depending on the task at hand. And so up here in the top hand right corner, you can see perfect layers, mask, portrait, effects, black and white, focus, and resize. All of this is included in the application right out of the box. And I want to show you just some real world scenarios of how we would use some of these features on one of my images. So this is an image we took at a workshop in DC. Love the architecture behind it, but I want it to be more of a pano. And so I'm just going to come here on the left hand side, select the crop tool. And what this is going to allow me to do is just kind of to come in here and crop this image. And I want more of a panel, right? So a long skinny print. I like selling these to my clients. So we're going to do this, okay? Hit enter, and that's going to automatically resize that for us. And you'll notice here on the right hand corner is this concept of layers. So once again, you've got that Photoshop look and feel from the perspective of having multiple layers, something not even possible in Lightroom, but that is present inside of Perfect Photo Suite. So let's go to Perfect Effects. This is where you're going to apply a lot of your presets. You can store your own presets, mark as favorites, create your own recipes. But you can also see here on the right hand corner this concept of a stack. And so you can actually apply different effects and control the amount of opacity each effect has on the overall image. So let's just play around here. Let's look at some of the built-in HDR effects. And again, all these effects are included right out of the box. And so let's just take a look at some. We'll go with the HDR look surreal. Okay, right? It's a surreal look. I don't particularly care for what it's doing to their skin tones. So I tend to use the tonal contrast. I like the way that looks. And if you want to see it on and off, you can come here to the right in the effect stack and just turn that layer on and off. And it just gives you a sense. So the trees start to pop a little bit. Their jeans start to pop a little bit. I like the way that looks. Now, if that's your favorite, you just come over here and flag that. And that's now going to show up in your favorites list, as you can see up here on the top left. So if we go back to favorites, okay, some of my favorites are already flagged. So we'll come back in here. What about a vignette? So we can scroll down. Okay, we want a darken vignette. Again, you've got some to choose from here. We can go with Big Softy. Well, this is awesome because I actually made a mistake here. And so I can just hit Command Z, undo that. And so we have that HDR tonal contrast here in the effects layer. I want to add that, right, and commit it to the layer. So we hit add, and that now gives us a new empty layer so that we can build our edits on top and always come back and remove them and edit how much, the amount or opacity on the image the effect is having. So I want to go to Big Softy now. Okay, I like the way that's burning it down. I want to add that. I like it. And again, I can control the amount of that effect here just by messing with this. Okay, I can add that. And maybe we go and we'll look for some textures. So let's kind of browse the textures. Again, these are all included right out of the gate. So let's apply Itchy. Let's see what that's looking like. Okay, let's go with this for a second. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. Okay, so if you do like it, right, it's all over their faces, so we don't want that, obviously. And maybe it's just too pronounced. So the first thing we should do is just come down here and dial the amount down a little bit. Maybe you want that grungy look. Let's pull a little bit of that off here. So let's come down a little bit more, right? Less is more. And now what we want to do, and for the sake of this demo, let's go all the way up to 100% and we can see it on their face. So now what we want to do is use the brush, okay, and we want to paint out the effect. So, and I would say we want 100% opacity, we want to remove it all, and we can go with a feathering of 50%. So what's happening is this is going to allow us to remove that effect off of them, okay, and we can make our brush smaller to come down our leg. And now we've removed it off their skin, right? Nobody wants, even if they like textures, they definitely don't want it on their face. Okay, so now that we've got that where we want, maybe now we come and we pull down some of this just off the image as a whole. Okay, and you can see that's moving and adjusting how pronounced the texture is. And so at this point, if you like the way it looks, we can hit apply. And now that's going to apply us and send us back into the layers. Now, truth be told, I could have saved that entire editing sequence. I could have saved that as a favorite or a preset, I should say, and now I could come back to that at a later date. Let's go back and look at something I enjoy, and it's called Perfect Focus. So let's launch Perfect Focus. And what you're going to use Perfect Focus for is really to control your depth of field, your bokeh, so to speak. And so this is a built-in tool again, and pay no attention to what it looks like now because it looks horrible, but this is an extreme, and it's showing you where this is being applied to. So obviously we would want them more pronounced than their background, right? So maybe you don't have that expensive piece of glass, you can't afford it. What this does is this gives you some built-in lenses here. So for example, I love the 85-1.2 or the 50mm 1.2, and it just gives you great bokeh. But what you're looking at here is something that's right out of the gate, right? So don't pay attention to it. We're going to fix this. So here you can see built into the product, we've got some lens emulation here. So we can go, hey, I want this to look like and have that depth of field as if it came off a Canon 50mm 1.2 shot at 1.2. So let's focus that. Okay. Now the next thing we have to do is really adjust the amount. So this is actually ridiculous, right? It just doesn't look right. So, and that's to be expected. We want to dial this down to maybe 9, 7 is usually where I want to be. And then we want to adjust the feathering. And this can all be done here, right? So here's our width, here's our blur amount. Notice the feather's at 30. And so we can feather this, right? Or more or less, we don't want a super hard line on that. We want it to look somewhat natural. And so you can come all the way here and just really, really feather it, and then adjust the amount even more. Maybe come down to 3 or 4. And this is going to take some practice to get the look you want. But the point is, this is built right into the tool so that you can adjust this. And then I can show it and hide. The bug tool is going to hide, and we can control this. So you're seeing now that their faces are popping a little bit more than maybe their legs or the background. And again, this is a finesse tool. So you're going to come in here and play with this to get that look and feel. And I cannot stress this enough, less is more. So the last thing you want to do is have it look just completely fake, right? So we'll exaggerate it for a second here. Right? There's not many lenses I'm aware of that look like this, and more importantly, I don't think your clients are going to go for the okie doke here. So really, you want to come down to 3 or 4 and just really control it through your feathering. Here you can see we can control the width, height, and that's going to allow us to control really where this is going and how it looks to the overall look and feel of the image. So you'll find your preference there to what looks right. Then of course we hit apply, and you notice we've never left the environment. So we're still in the perfect photo suite environment, and now if we're done, we can come here, save the image. We can save it as a PSD file. We can save it right as a TIFF file. And of course, we can save it as a JPEG. But let's look at one more thing here. Let's say now I like the way this image is looking, but I want to do a black and white. So if we go to perfect black and white, once again, we're going to have a bunch of black and white presets for the image. So we're just going to go here. We're just going to go here and look at some of the effects that are built into the tool and just play. And that's what I love, right? Because we all know that every image doesn't look perfect with a preset applied, right? So here we're using Bogart Warm, but I don't like necessarily what it's doing on their face. So maybe we just want to brighten up the image a little bit, so we can come over here, just adjust it just a little bit, okay? And maybe that's the way we want it to look to our client. Maybe give it a little more detail structure, okay? And so now within a few clicks and playing within the environment, I've got an image that looks nothing like the original image that we threw in here. And this is what I like to do on a handful of my images from every job so that they stand out from what comes out of camera, right? Clients every day are expecting more and more from us as photographers, and it's no longer about just what came out of camera. It's about what we're doing with those images to make them look like art pieces. And I really do enjoy the way this one has looked. So now I can hit apply. And as you can see, quickly and easily through the Perfect Photo Suite environment, we have created an image with texture, with vignette, with blur, and black and white. Simple, easy, efficient workflow. I think the team at onone did an amazing job creating a tool that allows you to quickly and efficiently edit your images. Look, we've all been there. We spend hours of time in the Photoshop environment, and it doesn't matter what tool you're using. Time is money. As a business owner, the last thing I want to do is spend all this time doing post-production. And I've worked closely with the team at onone, and I'm just blown away by how easy they've made their workflow. So whether you're using Lightroom or Aperture or even Photoshop, onone Perfect Photo Suite is the perfect companion, and the ultimate goal when it's all said and done is to save you time and money in your workflow, and they do that by introducing efficiency. So I highly encourage you, go download that free trial, give this tool a shot, and I'm sure you can find a way to adapt it to your workflow.